Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something clicked.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
It's funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Start by asking you if there's any part of yourself you'd like to get to know better, or change your relationship with, or any issue that you'd like to explore.
Yes. There is the part of me that's always judging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's judging yourself and your own actions, or judging others.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Both me and others and the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I have parts like that. Okay. So, does it have a recurring kind of message or voice to it that you notice more, or is it just in general? Sometimes they have a very specific message.
I don't think there's necessarily a voice, but there is an idea that it holds. There is a way that it wants the world to be,
Mm-hmm.
and also me, and also other people. So it has a very specific idea of how things should be, what is good, what is bad, what is cool, what is uncool, what is, I don't know, what is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And when this part is activated, where do you notice it in or around your body?
I think I notice it right in front of my eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they become very focused. And I think a bit around my head as well. Maybe due to the pressure or something. And also my chest.
Okay. Does it have any other qualities about it? Does it have any kind of energy or tightness or pushing or pulling or anything else you notice about it?
I notice that it pulls me down.
Mm.
I think, like, I feel tight and tense.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think I also forget to breathe, So
Yeah.
there's also this tightness, like, in my stomach.
Yeah.
And I think if this voice had a body, it would, like, forcefully mold the world around me.
Yeah. Okay. So it has a lot of power, and it wants to kind of exert that power in the world around you.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's also very contained because I don't necessarily allow myself to do that.
Yeah. So as you notice it there, how do you feel towards this part?
When I'm aware of it, I feel judgmental towards my judgmental part.
Right.
And when I'm not aware, I feel actually quite bad. Like, I feel like an asshole, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's taking over and it's causing you to be judgy, then you just feel like an asshole. I understand that. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So in this conversation, we're going to try to get to know this part and just learn about it. So the part of you that has judgment about it, can you ask that part to just soften back or step back a little bit so that we can get to know the first judgmental part and just see how it reacts?
Okay. Should I ask out loud?
Most people don't. You can if you want, but it is kind of an inner conversation. So
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're able to do that, does that judgment of the judgment, is that willing to step back a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. And so now, how do you feel towards the first part, the judgmental part?
It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really.
Are you feeling open to getting to know it?
Yes.
Okay. So try letting it know that you'd like to get to know it.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to send it some of that energy, curiosity. Invite it to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's receptive to that, ask it what it wants you to know.
Mm-hmm.
Or what it wants you to know about it.
I think it wants me to know that it's trying to protect me, and that it's also very fearful.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And are those messages coming from that part? It's telling you that it wants to protect you and that it's fearful?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you feel when you hear that about it? When you hear that it wants to protect you and you hear that it's fearful, like how does that make you feel about it?
Makes me feel that it does have, to some degree, my best interest in mind. but maybe doesn't go about it in the best of methods.
Yeah. So see if you can let it know that you appreciate, or that the position it's in, or its intention of wanting to protect you. See if you can let it know that you see that and that you appreciate its intention.
Mm-hmm.
How does it react to that?
It seems to react also with a bit of judgment.
Okay.
And also with a bit of like the usual annoyance that it has.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think it's important that it hears this.
Yeah. And you don't have to share it with me, but would it be okay to listen to, or to explore a little bit about what is its annoyance about? Could you just ask it that and just try to get a little more information on that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is it responding to that?
Yes, with some resistance.
Okay.
But yes, like it just wants the world to be a certain way that it imagines that's going to make me happy, that's going to make me safe, that's going to make me satisfied.
Yeah.
And so it keeps imagining, it keeps like coming up with all these fantasies, with all this, all these standards, in an effort to maybe give me like the life that it thinks that would be the best for me.
Yeah.
Without realizing that it makes my life actually miserable in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, are you able to just show it appreciation for its intention?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And how does it react to that?
It softens a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And recognizes that maybe it has been a bit harsh at moments.
It recognizes that it has been harsh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That this part has been like harsh.
Yeah.
At many points.
Yeah. And what is its concern? You talked about safety and satisfaction. What's its concern if it didn't do that job, if it didn't try to hold the world to these standards or to have these fantasies?
That I wouldn't be happy, I think, or that I wouldn't reach my own potential, or that I wouldn't be surrounded by the people that I want to be surrounded with, or I don't know. I think unsatisfaction.
Yeah.
Unsatisfaction is what it's trying to prevent, and also it's trying to protect me from fear, because like the world, a lot of the times is also can be a scary place, and so Yeah. And so by creating this world where everything is good and perfect and nice,
Yeah.
and where I understand everything,
Yeah.
that keeps me safe.
Yeah. Sounds like it's really doing a lot. It's working really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And we don't have to go into it, but I would just kind of bookmark what that fear is about and just,
Mm-hmm.
just because in the future that might be something that you work on, is getting to know the part that it's protecting.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so if you were able to do that, if you were able to get to know that part and remove its fear, what would this judgmental part rather be doing with its energy inside of you? You can just ask it that. What would it rather be doing if it didn't have to work so hard?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Okay. It says that it would rather be attending to my own surroundings and attending to things that can bring me joy, like as they are.
Mm.
So it would be attending to, like, yes, things as they are, and not to their potential, like not to things as they can be.
Yeah, sounds nice.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's nice to just kind of stay in that space of that kind of potential reality and just enjoy that with it. And just imagine what it would be like if it could change its role and if it could enjoy that time more. Again, that would probably be dependent on learning more about what it's afraid of and doing some work with those parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One fear that also pops up when I inquire a bit deeper is the good old fear of rejection. So it's also trying to protect me from that.
Yes.
Like very much so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably the most common reason that protectors do what they do.
Yes.
So you can just let it know that you see that you appreciate it, that it's normal, that it's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that, well, at least with IFS, that's something that can be turned around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can try asking the part how old it thinks you are. Just wait for an answer.
Okay. Well, I actually have the answer.
Yeah.
Because it definitely thinks that I am much younger than I actually am, and a lot less capable than I actually am as well.
Yeah. Does it have an approximate age?
And I don't know.
That it's showing
I would
you?
say that 11, 12.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just go ahead and update it on your real age.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not 11, I'm 30.
Yeah. And you're much more capable now than you were then.
Yes.
And I imagine that 11-year-old part of you is or was dealing with that fear of rejection. And that's why this part's working so hard.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So you could try asking it what it needs from you in the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it needs me to show it first that I'm actually safe, that I am actually capable, and that the world is not, out there to get me.
Mm.
Um, yeah, how I'm gonna do that, I don't know. But I think
Yeah,
that's what
you
I
could try
need.
asking it if it has any ideas about ways that you could show it that.
Um,
What would it need to see from you?
I think in my particular case, it would need to see more consistency and more kindness also.
How about in your relationship with it? Is there a way that it would like to communicate with you um, differently than it has been? Or a way that it would like for you to communicate with it differently?
I think it would like to tell me what it tells me, like in the way that it usually tells me. So, like, I don't think that it would enjoy like holding back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the way that I can change like my communication with this part is by just listening and being present, I think, and not judging back the judging part.
Yeah. And how's that been for you just in this conversation?
Quite interesting, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's something that I try to do, but silently and for myself. And
Yeah.
actually putting these things into words is quite, I don't know, it settles things a bit.
Yeah. And this is your first time going through this process?
Out loud, yes.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. And what about the I just have a couple questions. Like when it points to that 11-year-old, 12-year-old part, was that had you seen that before? Okay. In your work, in your inner work before?
If I had identified it before,
Yeah. Or seen that it was connected to this part?
I like not specifically to. Actually, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. I hadn't associated the inner judge with the kid.
Yeah. It's really common.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that.
Well, yeah, you can just kind of keep checking in with this part. You know, sometimes a check-in can just be a quick thing that you do a little every day, and just keep listening out for what it has to say. And you can practice just in the same way we did, of literally just asking the part of you that's judgmental of it to step aside or to give you space. But you can also get to know that part. You know? And I have kind of a policy of not going to those younger parts, those exile parts, with when I've talked to someone for the first time. But if you want to do this again sometime, then that would be a direction we could go if you're interested.
Yes, definitely. Yes. I think it has a lot to say.
Yeah, they usually do. And they're very wise.
Yes, I'm open to that.
Awesome. Do you have any other questions for this part while you have its attention? Is there any other work you want to try to do with it, just from your own playbook? Because I've asked all my questions of it.
I would like to ask it, like, what would calm it down,
Yeah.
make it happy and satisfied. Yes.
It's a great question.
Yes. Yeah. And like the answer at first, the answer seems like one thing, but it's probably not, you know?
Yeah. There's usually the thing that we say we want, or the parts say they want, and then there's kind of the fear behind that, and the the other side of it.
Yes. Because like if I try to answer this now, I think the first answer would be, well, I would be happy if the world were different, or if the world were exactly like this.
Yeah.
When actually it means I would be happy if you were happy and safe. And so, yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool part. It's looking out for you. During this process, do you feel like this part, does it feel like it's in the room with you or close to you? Is there any like distance that you notice?
It's quite close, I think. It's quite in my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Screaming in my face. What?
Is it, you say it's screaming?
Yes, it's like lashing out at me in my face.
Oh, I didn't know that. You could try asking it to just turn down the volume a little bit, and just let it know that when you are in a place like this and you're ready to listen to it, that the best way for it to communicate with you is not screaming.
Yes.
And that you want to listen to it so you can help it.
Yeah. I think it wants to scream.
Oh.
Because it has never, how can I say it? Or maybe that's another part, I don't know. Like there is a part of me that really wants to scream a lot.
Yeah.
But has never been able to. And so this part sees screaming and lashing out as free expression.
Yeah.
And so asking it to not scream seems a bit counterproductive.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. And does that make sense to you?
Yes,
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe a process of screaming would be helpful in a way, unburdening this part or some other part.
Yes.
So I'm sorry if I was making assumptions, but I was assuming that if it's screaming in your face, that was making it harder for you to understand and communicate with it. I think the goal is just to be on the same team, and if it wants to scream out to the universe or scream about something, that's one thing. But if it wants to scream at you, again, that can be okay. It's just it needs to be needs to be okay for you. It needs to be in a way that you can that you're okay with.
Yes. I think that maybe I am screaming back at it instead of it screaming at me. So like if I actually like connect with it right now.
Yeah.
It feels more like it does feel like a very close presence. But more like someone who is like sternly judging you,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, someone who is like observing your every movement and is like, I don't know, just disapproving of everything all the time. And so that's the part. And it's really close, it's really obnoxious. And then there's the part of me that just wants to scream at it.
Yeah. Okay.
And, yeah.
So those are definitely parts.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think if you can just keep, again, at you, the part of you that wants to scream back at it, that's the part that you were asking to step aside and to soften back, because you want these parts to know you, the 30-year-old you, the one that has this self energy. And so you kind of have to get between them in a way. And sometimes that just means asking one part to step out of the room, to go into the waiting room, to just so that you can get to know them one at a time.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'll be present with the stern judge only.
Yeah. At any point, did you feel like you were just in a close and calm way with this part during our conversation?
Yes, actually, right now.
Great.
As soon as I told the screaming part to just leave the room.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have that power, and you can show these parts that you have that power. It's not a dominating power. It's the power of care and doing this process in a way that works for you.
Yeah.
And so when you're in that place with any of the parts, that's when you want to ask them these questions about what you can do for them, what they'd rather be doing, what they're afraid of, etc.
Yep, that's very empowering.
So do you have any other questions for me, or any other direction you'd like to go?
Not for now.
Okay.
I think that like I have no.
Okay.
Like I can already identify many different parts that might pop up.
That's great that you can identify them.
Yes. So, and I don't really know like which one to pick, so to say, like, because I have trouble like defining which one would be a priority,
Yeah.
But I think that comes with time.
Yeah, and I can help you with that. If you want to do this another time, we can start with 10 different parts and pick one.
Mm-hmm.
We can work on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, does it feel any better inside? Was any of this helpful?
Yes.
Great.
I enjoy the process of turning everything basically into a character. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's that's kind of the reality behind it all, is that these parts are like people. They are characters, and they're multifaceted, and without getting to know them, we're kind of blind to that.
Yeah.
And when you start getting to know them, it can be very overwhelming and seem very heavy, and there's a lot to do, and it's worth it.
Yes, absolutely. It's like being in a crowded room and not knowing anyone, and everyone is acting in a way.
Right.
And you're like, what the fuck is happening here?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But they're all there for a reason. They're all there with a positive intention. And a lot of times you can kind of, a lot of times you'll have 5 different protectors around one exile. And so it might seem like, you have these 5 or 6 parts that you have to get to know every single one, but sometimes you can just earn enough trust to say, okay, I'd like to go in and help this exile part, and then all of the protectors can relax. So sometimes it's a lot easier or simpler than it looks from when you start.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Any more questions for me?
No, not for now.
Okay. It was really nice talking with you, and I would say thanks to your parts. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Okay. I hope you have a good rest of your evening.
You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.